President Donald Trump waking up in Miami. We saw the president there walking down the steps of Air Force One after landing at Miami International Airport late last night. He is in South Florida for a House GOP conference hosted at his Trump National Doral Resort. Trump comes to Miami from Las Vegas after visiting areas devastated by natural disasters on both coasts. CBS News Miami's Steve Majiri in Doral, where the president is capping off an eventful first week back in the White House with supporters.
This is likely President Trump's first official visit to South Florida since being sworn in for his second term as president. Traffic was briefly closed off as the motorcade came through, and a lot of people here didn't originally even know that the president was coming to town. This wasn't the first time Oscar Jarquin has watched the presidential motorcade with his family.
That's why we knew exactly which spot to go ahead and be in, and we've also been able to participate in his rallies before.
Alain Broche was in Doral for something else. He came here when he found out the president is in town to host a GOP issues conference on Monday at his resort.
We had no idea that he was going to be here today.
Republican members of Congress are expected to attend the conference. Congressman Carlos Jimenez confirmed to CBS News Miami that he will be there. The conference follows a busy first week in office for President Trump. So far, he has rescinded 78 executive orders issued by President Joe Biden, pulled out of the World Health Organization, and directed the United States to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. There is a court battle brewing over the president's executive order aiming to end birthright citizenship.
I don't really agree with what he's doing as far as that goes.
The president has declared a national emergency at the southern border, and he promises mass deportations. Broche says he came to the U.S. from Cuba and is not a U.S. citizen yet. He says he hasn't finalized his paperwork. Are you worried at all about getting deported?
So me personally, no, I'm not worried at all being deported.
One of the president's most controversial orders was granting a full pardon for most of the people convicted for their role in the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
It's very controversial, but at the same token, there's a lot of people that did spend a lot of time behind bars, and their lives were definitely changed. So I'm very happy that he met his commitments.
This conference runs from Monday through Wednesday, and on top of it, the Florida legislature will also be holding a special session this coming week that focuses on immigration. In Doral, Steve Majiri, CBS News Miami.
Thank you, Steve. Before Miami, the president's first domestic trip crisscrossed the country. Aboard Air Force One, he held court with reporters talking about everything from his plan for the Middle East to selling TikTok. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn tracking the latest.
In Las Vegas Saturday, President Trump walked the floor of a casino and paused briefly at a craps table. Later, aboard Air Force One, he showed his cards to reporters on a host of issues, speaking about his ideas for refugees in Gaza.
I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. You're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing.
The president also spoke about lifting a Biden-era limit on sending 2,000-pound bombs to Israel. He said he'd consider making Saudi Arabia his first foreign trip. And he also talked about selling TikTok to a domestic owner.
Numerous people are talking to me, very substantial people, about buying it. And I'd make that decision probably over the next 30 days.
On Saturday, Trump spoke at a rally in Las Vegas and renewed his promise to eliminate tax on tips.
Tipped income, your tips will be 100% yours. Won't that be nice?
The president's cabinet is taking shape with the Senate confirmation of Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary and Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. But some lawmakers are pushing back on Trump's sudden firing of more than a dozen federal inspectors general.
One more example of a lack of respect for rule of law.
These firings are Donald Trump's way of telling us he is terrified of accountability and is hostile to facts and to transparency.
Federal law requires that Congress receive 30 days' notice, and the firings will likely be challenged in court. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
President Trump told reporters that the firings were standard practice, but Republican Senator Chuck Grassley says the president needs to better explain why these inspector generals lost their jobs.